I know that if I create content that people engage with and I build a following, there's going to be positive benefits to that.
This is Mitch, and welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I have Tim Macy sitting here across from me. He's from San Antonio, Texas. He's an EXP agent, doing very well at that, but he's been doing something that I wanted to talk to him about, which was video and social media. He cracks me up all the time. He comes up with all these great ideas, and they're funny, and like anytime now I see he's got something up, I just stop and I gotta punch play because I gotta see what he's come up with next because he just cracks me up. And it's good stuff, man. How you doing, Tim?
I'm good. Thanks for having me up. We've done a couple phone call interviews the past couple times I've been on, and so it's good to like get in the studio here, see the view, see everything. It's awesome. So I'm glad to be here.
How was the drive out here?
It wasn't great actually.
It was pouring down rain.
Like
right?
it's beautiful here, but I hate commutes, and I'm like, man, I could never like live out here and commute.
27 years.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Man, you're crazy. That's what. So I don't mean to sidetrack, but we bought our most recent house, a little $100,000 house over like right next to Castle Hills area because it's like right in the middle of everything. And we got a great deal, and but I would take the short commute over the big yard any day.
Oh yeah, okay, well, different strokes, right?
But it's beautiful. I mean, the view here is ridiculous.
Tell us a little bit about your background, real quick.
Sure. I grew up in Connecticut, so gotta get one of those bumper stickers, like not born in Texas, but got here as fast as I could type ones.
Okay.
But yeah, grew up in Connecticut, was in the Air Force for a while, ended up stationed down in San Antonio for a little while, got out of the Air Force, decided I wasn't gonna go back to Connecticut. I don't know if you noticed, but the economy up there, not the best. People are leaving Connecticut, so I was like, I can go back there and they'll be like, oh, you're a veteran, here's a rag, you can wash a car. Or I can be here in San Antonio where it seemed like there's a lot more going on, and I'm glad we stuck around.
It's a big little city, isn't it?
The big little city, that's what I always tell people, yeah.
It's the biggest little city in Texas.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about video and the social media. So tell me how this whole thing got started. When did you become the video guy for your industry?
Look, like anything, right? I did something. I did a lot of things, right? I did a lot of stupid things. I did some smart things. But you don't really know if they're smart or they're stupid until you do them. So I took a whole bunch of action is what I really did. And some of the action started to get good results. And one of those things that I was doing that was getting good results was video. The first video, so I have the Tim Macy show where I interview, now it's pretty much, I interview real estate agents across the country. But the first time I really tried it was we were at a bar and I was like, Mitch, can I interview you? I got this new Facebook Live thing and I want to try to interview you on Facebook Live. And so you showed up 20 minutes late.
At a bar that I owned.
At a bar that you owned. And so the first 20 minutes, because you can schedule the lives now, which is awesome. So you can do a Facebook Live show and it says, Tim Macy is scheduled to go live with Mitch at 3. And so people are like, oh, that's interesting. They can click get reminder, right? And that way they get a notification as soon as we go live. So it's great for viewers. It's great because people, instead of it randomly happening, that you can kind of build a schedule and a time. But
then I showed up 20 minutes late.
So he shows up 20 minutes late. It's the first time I've used this thing. So I feel like I can't have, people are like waiting for this. I'm just gonna go live and wait for him. So I'm sitting there live on Facebook, just
at a bar,
just BSing like, we're waiting for Mitch. Mitch is almost here. How are you doing today? And just like randomly had conversations.
Tap dancing.
But you did show up. We had this conversation. People were commenting live, and so we could interact with the people that were commenting as they were asking you questions, right? And the engagement was great. And so I thought it was pretty good. But the way I knew it was really good was afterwards, right? Afterwards, when I'm walking around town or I'm at the next thing, and I have multiple people come up and say, hey, I loved that interview you did with Mitch. And I'm like, oh crap, I have something, right? There's something here, I don't know what it is.
It was Mitch.
It was Mitch, yeah.
After that, it was all downhill.
So I knew there was something there, and so I just kept doing it. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't really know what the outcome was going to be, but I knew that people liked it and people were engaging with it, so I just did more of it.
And it was cutting edge too at the time.
Yeah, I think
more
so.
Cutting edge.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it had been out forever.
Well, the other thing too is like, I've told so many people how to do it, right? Like, hey, what software are you using? I'm using this. Hey, what are you doing? I'm using this. What kind of mic do you have? I have one of these. They're $100. They're not expensive, right? I have a webcam. I do it in my living room, right? Like, there's nothing fancy about it. But the reason that I've been way more successful than everybody else trying to do it is that I keep doing it every single week.
Consistency.
Consistent. Yeah. So everybody wants like the push button solution. There is no push button solution. You got to do the work. That's them.
Got to put it together. You got to set it up, and you got to show up.
Keep rolling.
Yeah. So, what are some of the things that have really? You have some of the funniest videos. Like, what's the? You just capitalized off the Nike thing, didn't you?
Yeah, I did the little Nike post, which was list with me, even if it means you have to move everything. But that totally wasn't mine. I have to give a shout out to my partner in Pennsylvania, Colin Cameron. And that's the other thing that we do, which I think is very important. I don't think people do enough, is I collaborate with everybody, right? Like, I'm not the best marketing guy, but I can look at somebody that is a great marketing guy and figure out what they're doing that's working, and then just try to do it myself.
Wow. Or you could just team up with a whole bunch of like writers, but it's like, what's the next hot idea? Who's got a good idea for the thing that happened in the news 5 minutes ago? Who's got a good idea for that?
But you can do so much if you just observe, right? Like, you can see what I do on the Tim Macy Show. You can see what Mitch does, making a podcast, making a show, and just do it yourself.
So actually, I have a lot of help because I'm like technically challenged out the wazoo. Like, I'm getting pretty good at email and cutting and pasting and doing some things, but I have no patience. Plus, I have too many hats. The thing is, I can't do as much. So I'm using a company. If you want to know who I use to set up my whole podcast and everything, you can go to reinvestorsummit.com/my podcast, and I will clue you in as to the guy that makes this whole world go around, why I have 15, 20, 30,000 downloads a month sometime. It's not because I do this part. This is what I do. Mm-hmm. I get in front of people. I talk to people. I make sure that I show up on time most of the time, and then they handle the rest. So if you're interested, go to reinvestorsummit.com/my podcast. You're putting everything together yourself, right? So what are some of the key components?
So one thing that we're trying to get better at this year is how we use the content, right? So I did a Lose the Dad Bod series because, like I said, I watch all these guys from across the country. There's a ton of successful agents in like San Diego, my buddy in Dallas, Fort Worth area. They do these specials on restaurants because everybody loves restaurants, and so they make this whole. It's not about real estate. It's nothing about real estate. They're just doing specials on restaurants. They're becoming what the Gary Vaynerchuk thing, the digital mayor of their town, right? They're becoming the person in their town, and then that obviously funnels down and they get business. But I looked at it, I'm like, I'm in the worst shape of my life. I don't want to go eat more. Like, doing the restaurant specials isn't probably the best thing. So I started doing local gyms, right? And people enjoy watching me suffer through a workout. And it's this whole thing, I'm going to lose the dad bod. And that's been great because it's engaging, people like it, and I'm also helping another business. So that business shares my stuff. That business is trying to get it more exposure. And so that's done pretty well for me and taken off. But what we're trying to do this year is making sure that content goes to every available place. Because if I make that video and I put it on Facebook, right, I'm reaching all my Facebook audience, that's great. But I have a piece of content, a good piece of content. It needs to go to YouTube, right? It needs to have a blog post. It needs to have an Instagram post. It needs to be on IGTV. It should have a LinkedIn post. So taking that one piece of content and then just recycling it over all the different social media.
Well, the point is you already took the time to do it. So why not? It's already done.
Yeah.
Whether it's good, medium, or not so good, it's already done, right?
Yeah, so use it. Get it out
use
there.
It. Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
I've heard there's no such thing as bad content, really. It's just like there's no such thing as bad publicity. It's just publicity. But I prefer to stay on the good side of everything, but
I would have agreed with that statement a year or two ago.
Okay.
Right, and the reason I say that is because what we see a lot with real estate agents and the marketing they're doing is they sign up for some service, and the service is going to post 5 things a week for them, and they're doing like crappy live videos and whatnot. And before it was like, hey, just put content out. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, whatever. But the way the algorithms are working now is that if you put out a bunch of content that nobody engages with, Facebook's going to stop showing it to people.
Okay.
Right? You know what I mean? So if I put out 5 articles and 5 pictures and they get no likes, no comments, the next picture I put up, nobody's going to see it, right? They're not going to put it in front of anybody. Whereas that picture I just put up playing on the whole Nike thing, right? Like that got, I think I'm almost at 300 likes or something in the first day, right? Facebook's like, okay, this person's putting out content that people engage with. My next post is going to be in front of everybody, so I got to make sure it's a good one. So you got to be careful. Like, we tell people, like, don't worry about it, put it out. On the same hand, you can't put out a ton of bad content.
Okay, so let me back up though. Some people want to get too technical, too clean, too glossy.
I'm not saying that.
They don't want to, like, it's not professional anymore to hold an iPhone up and say what you have to say. I don't think that's true. Good content can be gotten from a from an iPhone that's a little less than steady. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or doesn't quite stay your face in the middle. But there's still, it's about the content. It's not about the production, right?
Exactly. It's about the content. We have our Facebook group I was telling you about, RETV, where real estate agents come, or if you're a lender, if you're a real estate investor, they come, you put your video in and you say, hey, what do you think? You get a bunch of feedback. And the questions we always get is like, what kind of camera should I get, right? What kind of microphone do I need? What do I need? And it's like, look, I made that whole trip I did on my entire vacation, looked great, got a bunch of engagement. It was all on my iPhone. I shot the whole thing on my iPhone. I was at the Tom Ferry event, and people were going up and asking him a question or getting a selfie. I went up with Facebook Live ready, and I was like, Tom, you want to go on Facebook Live? All right, cool, boom. And then I asked him a question on Facebook Live, holding my camera, and that got like 9,000 views or something, right? So It's about the content, not about the camera. On the same hand, make sure your content isn't like boring. You know what I mean? Make sure that whatever you're showing people are going to want to see, have some value.
Yeah. So why are you doing this directly or indirectly? What's the end goal? I mean, you're not shooting videos because you want to be a Hollywood producer someday. You're shooting them for a reason. What are you doing this for?
I mean, I would say that this probably isn't the best approach, but I know that if I create content that people engage with and I build a following, there's going to be positive benefits to that. What they are exactly, I'm never really sure. Like with you, I interviewed you, it went well, so I started interviewing more people. Now we've got a couple thousand views on each interview and everything, right? That's going out there with no intention or why. But I mean, what's happened? We've gotten a ton of agent-to-agent referral business. So
so right there, referral business. So obviously, somewhere there's a tagline under your name, EXP Realtor, or let me list your houses. There's got to be some call to action somewhere, even if it's in the fine print.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I mean, a lot of transactions that happen are referred between real estate agents in different markets. So if I'm going to sell somebody's house here in San Antonio and they're going to move to Fresno, I know I'm going to send them to Jason Ferris in Fresno. Like I'm going to get a referral on that, and a lot of this business is referral based. In San Antonio, anybody moving to San Antonio, I crush it, right? Because the agents in the other markets are teeing them up to call me because I've done this show and I've got a ton of national exposure. What my point is, though, is that wasn't the intent. Right? I didn't build this content with the intent to get agent-to-agent referrals or grow the EXP stuff across the country, right? Because we now have agents in 8 different markets or 9 different markets now. I think that was never the intention. The intention was to add value, right? And I think that's where people miss a lot, is they start with the intention of, how am I going to make money on this? If you start with the intention of, how can I add the most value to my audience or my intended audience? How can I get the most exposure? How can I get the biggest following? The rest of the stuff comes after that.
Okay, so I love what you said. Become the digital mayor.
That's a Gary Vaynerchuk thing, not me, but I totally
I connected with that. Become the digital mayor. We could change it. Even the digital what? The governor, the digital governor of your state.
Something.
So Vaynerchuk, take that. It's hard to measure sometimes the success. Like, I've had this podcast. I swear, I'm not sure that I could put my hand on a Bible and say that I have not made $1 million from the podcast. I'd be scared to, because I could be going to hell right now, because I'm not sure that I didn't. Whether I did or didn't make $1 million, I know that I made a lot. It's just very hard to trace, because the pathway through which people find you is not always clear or stamped on their forehead. I came from the billboard, or I came from the whatever. And so I think what you're doing is great, but you also have to have a passion for it too, right? Because like you have a passion for the you can tell when you're doing it. Mm-hmm. You're like the kid that like to play pranks on kids.
I was making movies in high school, right? And it's funny because I won some award for like a news story. They had the thing on the local news where like kids can make news stories. I made one, won a bunch of awards. And then I got to college and I was like, man, I gotta get a real job. I can't just keep making videos all the time, right? Little did I know, YouTube, all this other stuff, right? Like there was this huge opportunity if I just kept making stupid videos, So now I'm going back to it. That's why I have a little thing. But you brought up a good point. Not everybody's passionate about it, right? And there's the analytical person. Like I'm not. Like I'm horrible with my numbers, like my cost per lead and the tracking and all that stuff. It's not my thing. I'm an artist. We talk about there's artists, entrepreneurs, and operators. Right, and operators are those guys that like know the numbers and they know their stuff, and they're like, I'm making a video. What's the ROI going to be? How many leads am I going to generate?
Yeah, how much did it cost?
Right. I mean, that's like do direct mail, do Facebook ads and pay per click if you're that type of person. Because if you're not an artist, I think that's where you're not going to find success in the video stuff.
Yeah, it really helps to be some kind of writer or some kind of right-brained visionary, because you have to be able to pick things out and say, that'll work.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, don't stand there, stand over here. Why?
Yeah.
Well, because, and then you say, that's funny right back there. Did you
I will say though, I take that back. If you are an operator, all you got to do is look at what other people are doing and then see what they're doing and copy it. We call it R&D, rip off and duplicate.
R&D.
Yeah. There's no.
It used to stand for research and development, but now it's called rip off and duplicate.
Look, there's so many good ideas already out there. You don't have to try to come up with an original.
But you can twist them around.
Yeah, you can tweak.
Yeah.
I think you can tweak. Make them your own.
Yeah, make them your own. So, okay, that was good. I'm going to put my own twist on that.
Yeah. So we're talking to real estate investors, right? Mm-hmm. From my observation, video, social media, real estate investors, one of the things that I feel like people are missing is that they're using social media to connect with other real estate investors, right? Which is good because you can do some deals here and there and whatnot. You have people coming on and you're adding value and whatnot to real estate investors, but ultimately it's like sellers and buyers, right? You need sellers to like you and you need buyers to buy your stuff. And nobody's really making content. They're not tweaking their content to be directed that way, right? Like if you're a real estate investor and you post your assignment fee check, right? And I'm a seller.
That doesn't
right?
that doesn't help your cause.
Like that does not help me want you to buy my house or trust you, right? In the real estate agent side, which I think we should also be talking about on the real estate investor side, is people work with people they know, like, and trust. Right? Know, like, and trust. So when you say, why do I make videos? Is because there's no other medium that gets people to know, like, and trust me better than video, right? Like I can send them a postcard that has my name on it and says list with me, or I can text them a link to my YouTube page and they can watch my videos and they'll know who I am in 20 minutes. They'll know, like,
you tailored those videos to that customer and the message to that customer.
Not necessarily. I mean, I think it's just videos of me being me.
I mean, the reason why I do this podcast was not because of my house finding, selling business. Yeah. I was doing this for an educational business. Yeah. I needed to reach a bigger audience to be able to say,
because that's your audience.
Yeah, if you want to be a real estate investor and some of the things that I specialize in appeal to you, maybe we should have a conversation.
So what I'm getting at is that I would like to see real estate investors, right, or wholesalers, whatever we want to talk about, tweak their thing from, because everybody and look, it is what it is. Most people have this social media presence of I'm so successful because that's what they feel like they need to do to solidify themselves as an investor in town, when really you should be building content that says you can trust me and that I help people.
Yes.
Right? Like you can trust me and I can help people. Don't tell me about how much money you made. Tell me about the lady, right, that didn't realize there were 18 heirs on the property. You sat and you went through it and you helped. Like that's what sellers want to hear. And that's also what your investor buyers, if you're wholesaling, want to see. This guy knows what he's talking about. He knows the issues and he actually gets deals done. Like that's what I would focus on if I was doing real estate investing content.
I think that the I Buy Houses branding has been wrong for a long time.
Yeah.
Even mine's horrible.
Yeah.
Mine's cash4houses.net, one of the worst names on the planet, because it should be more like
Home Solutions.
yeah, or
I'll fix your problem.
what's right for you.com.
What's
you know
right
what
for
I, you know, I mean, something like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Instead
yeah.
of like,
Look, I disagree though, because I think at the time when you did it, I think it was fine because people had cash for I want cash for my house. Okay, I'm gonna go do it. But we're in a different time, and listen, we're gonna be in a different time 2-3 years from now, so we're gonna have to redo this interview. But we're, you know what I mean? Like it's just constantly changing. Like I'm not running Facebook ads anymore. I was yelling at you guys, I think, to do Facebook ads 2 years ago, right? But consumer behavior changes faster now than it ever
well, it
has
wasn't
before.
even consumer behavior. There's malicious bots burning up over 3/4 of your
Yeah.
click budget
Yeah.
that you don't know about. And I
Yeah.
know this one guy is very prominent. I won't say his name.
Yeah.
But he noticed that between 10 and 10:30 every morning, whatever he had left in his budget got just zapped.
Yeah.
I mean, just got clicked away.
Yeah.
And within a half hour. And he had hired a company to do some research, and yes, I do know who that company is, and they can block those bots. But found out that over 50% of his budget was being eat up by malicious bots,
Yeah.
which mean all of his numbers were wrong. All the calculations, his numbers were much better.
The thing that I'm getting at though is that, you know, Google was, you search for something and it pops up at the top of the search thing, and you made a bunch of money on pay-per-click because people were clicking the top search thing. Now consumers learn, okay, the top ones are paid for. And I don't like advertisements, right? We've programmed ourselves as Americans because we get hit with thousands of advertisements every day to weed through them. And so now pay-per-click ads we identify as ads. Facebook would pop up with a thing that would say sign up here for more information. And we're like, ooh, I want more information on that. We'd hit sign up. We did that 2 years ago. Now we're like, that's so they can start calling me 20 times. Like, I'm not doing that, right? And so every advertisement platform that's new does well for a certain amount of time until people figure it out. When's the last time you read an email? When's the last time somebody sold you something through email?
Yeah, right.
Right? You know what I mean? And so instead of being an advertisement where you constantly have to change what you're doing to try to match what people are doing, why not be the TV show that's in between the advertisements? Why not just be the content that people want to consume, that people are actually interested in, instead of trying to be the advertisement? Because to me, that is the best advertisement.
Yeah, it's the softest sale.
Yeah, like don't try to trick people into signing up. Don't try to trick people into calling you, right? Like, have people want to call you. When people call me sometimes, they're like, hey, I need to sell my house, and I saw your video, and do you have time to come talk to me about listing my house? Right?
Well, let me think. Yeah.
Yeah, but they see this stuff. Their hope, like, you give them an insight to your life, you give them an insight to your business that they enjoy, and they're looking for an opportunity to be a part of it.
And you're already kind of like a friend now.
Exactly.
Or they already, I know that guy, or I think I know that guy.
Yeah.
Or I feel like I know that guy.
Yeah. It's
I
like,
had people play tricks on me that read my books and watched my videos. They actually come up to me and start talking to me like they know me, and they're like quoting stuff that's like right out of my life.
Yeah.
And then find out that they go, well, I'm just kidding. You don't really know me because I just read your book.
yeah, I consume all your stuff. I mean, think about it. I send a letter, or I cold call, right? And they set up 5 listing appointments, and they're going to interview 5 different real estate agents. And when I show up to that traditional listing appointment, there's a two-way street, right? I need to learn as much as I can about you, and I need you to learn about me, so you trust me, right? Like, we're going to learn about each other. When I go on these listing appointments now,
It's just
they
one way
already
out.
know me.
Yeah.
They know everything about me. They trust me. That's why they called me. And now I just need to learn about them. And it's so much easier.
Wow, very good. You just gave me a great idea, like for my house buying thing. I need to like do little documentary videos. I'm going to change my name from cash4houses.net to something like
Something else.
like you come first, or whatever you want. And then I'm going to maybe make a lot of vignettes of how we've handled different situations
How you help
in
people.
the favor of them, not me. You know,
Yeah,
it's
how you help
not about, and I'm not showing like, look how much money I made off the last guy I did. All right, well, it's been very interesting. I'm glad you took the time to come up here. We could probably talk about this for a million years. We got to didn't cover everything. Maybe we'll do another video. Okay, we'll put it
for sure. We'll see what the people say. If people want me back, I'll come back.
Yeah, let me check. Yeah, they want you back.
All right, good.
Okay.
You're not live now, right? You're right.
Hey, man, just mind your own business.
Okay.
You already signed the disclaimer. I'll put you out wherever I want. This is Mitch Stephen with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I want to thank you for taking time to get you some Tim Macy. That's Tim and then Macy. M-A-C.
Why?
Just why. I always want to put it in there.
M-A-C-Y.
Yeah, and then he's got, tell us about where some of your shows or quotes are.
All right, so I've got a Facebook group, RETV, RE space TV, all about video for real estate. So if you don't know where to get started, come in there, see what other people are doing. If you make a crappy video, you drop it in there, you get feedback before you put it out to the world, right? So it's an awesome resource. On that, I have the Tim Macy Show, which is interviewing real estate agents on Facebook, and the YouTube channel. I'm trying to get my YouTube up and running a little better.
Okay, and also, Tim is a EXP agent.
Yep.
And if you're interested in the new way of doing business in real estate, no more brick and mortar.
No more brick and mortar.
Being able to make a residual off the people that you bring into the fold, then talk to Tim about EXP. My partner is in EXP, and they do quite well, I must say.
Yep.
I'm not a licensed agent, so I couldn't, but if I was a licensed agent, I would be in EXP for sure. Because it's the only way to have. You know, it used to be the broker was the only one who could make someone under.
Or the franchise owner, or the market center owner.
Yeah.
Who knows how the.
Yeah, but now, just as a regular agent, you can introduce people to the concept of EXP and make a residual from their sales.
My one little pitch on EXP, because I try not to pitch too hard, is that it's the fastest growing I mean, it's ridiculous. 130, 40% growth year over year. Nothing's grown like it before. So even if it's not for you, you got to at least call me so you can explain why it's growing so fast.
Check into EXP and Tim Macy. He's a great representative for them. This is Mitch Stephen with the Real Estate Investor Summit Contest. We're almost out of time. I got to go because it's going to cut me off right now.